Good evening, everybody. I want to welcome you to our Sueur City Council meeting dated May 13, 2024. At this time, we'll call the meeting to order and begin with a pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Council members, you were all getting your packets over the weekend. Had an opportunity to look those over, reach out to our city administrator if you had any questions. At this time, I am looking for a motion to pass the night agenda. So moved. Thank you, Council Member Tui.
Second.
Councilmember Williams, thank you. Any discussion, comments, concerns? If not, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. Moving on to the consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda are considered routine and have been made available to the city council at least 2 days in advance of the meeting. These items will be enacted in one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or citizen so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the agenda and considered in normal sequence. This time I will ask our city administrator to review these items.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. 5 items on tonight's consent agenda, the first of which is approval of the city council minutes from the April 22nd, 2024 regular meeting. The second is approval of disbursements through today. Included in those disbursements are 5 items over $25,000. The first, MMPA for April 2024 purchase power, totaling $545,172.77. Second, to Nielsen Concrete as part of the 2024 citywide concrete work, which is our 2024 street maintenance plan, $50,111.90. Third, to Neo Water Treatment for FX300 wastewater chemicals, $41,100.10. Fourth, to Minnesota Department of Revenue for our March 2024 city sales tax, $40,647. And finally, to Avil Financial Solutions for their work on the 2023 audit prep, $27,346.10. Next is item C, approval of the 2024 lawn nuisance agreement with Luke's Lawn. Luke's Lawn LLC also providing services to the police department in 2023 for managing nuisance lawns. Item D, approve personnel actions. This is a series of seasonal employees for public services and a recreation program. And item E, approved personnel action, the hiring of public works and facilities operator.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions for our city administrator regarding the consent agenda items he just reviewed?
Just a quick one. Item C, Mr. Roby, how many times do we use that lawn nuisance? Approximately.
Mr. Graff, I would estimate maybe 50 times in a year.
Yeah, I would say maybe a little bit less than that, but yeah, it's
40, 50.
yeah.
And I would probably the last time I generated invoices from Mr. Graff was here, I think it was maybe a wetter summer, and so we had a little bit faster growing grass. The last 2 years it's probably been a little bit slower, but several a week.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at the, not 100, but 30, 40, 50, somewhere in there.
Are those usually like repeat type things?
I would say they're usually several repeat customers.
And they do become customers once they start paying. Any other questions? Yeah, Mr. Dewey.
Item E, is that a replacement? Thank you.
It is correct. So following the, Shane Meyer was hired as the supervisor of that department.
So it's a back.
Correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda. So moved. Second. Councilmember Sullivan, seconded by Councilmember Swanberg. Any other discussion, comments, concerns? If not, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. Moving on to public comment. Has anybody signed in? You don't think so? We'll let Mr. Tui double check just to make sure nobody's stuck in. So
Blank page.
thank you. With that, we will move on to our city administrator's update. Mr. Roby.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. First of all, I'm looking forward to our work session tonight with the school board at 7:30. They're having their regular meeting right now at the high school. I attended a downtown walking tour meeting with community organizations back on May 2nd. For those who are unfamiliar or vaguely remember, there's a group spearheaded by the Rotary, spearheading it. The Lions are very involved. The Nye Center's involved in creating a kind of a downtown historical walking tour, creation of placards that would describe some historical markers around the community. This has been in the works and discussions for probably about 2 years now. And so we're getting to the point where we'll be selecting a vendor to conduct some of the research. I had a vibrant conversation regarding, just generally regarding housing with the Southwest Minnesota Housing Partnership last week. It's a group that has an office in Mankato. They do a lot of affordable housing, but also develop market rate housing, multifamily and single family throughout the state of Minnesota. And it's just a good touch base with a local housing organization. We've had some capital improvement planning meetings regarding the airport with our airport engineers. That's with Public Works and Facilities Manager Joel Schmidt and Mr. Transberg, just to discuss our next 5-10 years of airport projects. Internally, we had a kickoff for the stormwater management plan activities. So one of City Council's goals for 2024-2025 is the establishment of a stormwater management plan where we can really look holistically at our stormwater system. As we've discussed at other meetings in the past, some areas of our town have stormwater challenges, including flooding during, flash flooding during heavy rain events. Some areas of town have no stormwater infrastructure whatsoever. For those who are familiar with North 4th Street, that's the story of their lives. So we're looking at it holistically from a community standpoint. What do we need to focus on most? What are our biggest challenges in the next 5-10 years? I suspect Mr. Schlee will bring this up later, so I will be brief. Planning Commission met last week to discuss, among other things, the language in our B or business districts. Tomorrow morning, Chief Steer and Director Graff and I will be attending the Giants Reality Challenge with juniors at the high school that's put on by the Rotary Club. We had a Christmas in the Valley meeting. I'm currently representing the city of Sueur at those. I'm a non-voting member of the committee, but I'm there to kind of help with the discussion as they re-envision what the organization and the planning process will be for Christmas in the Valley going forward. I have a chamber meeting later this week. And just an update, we did request some federal funding for the community center and had a couple of conversations with Representative Craig's office and Senator Tina Smith's office in the last week or so. And hopefully we'll have some updates on that in the coming months. And kudos to the recreation team this week. They have the unique challenge of both preparing for the outdoor pool season while simultaneously preparing for the summer ice hockey season. So they are getting ready at the end of this month to turn the compressors back on in the arena, repaint, and get ready for their partnership with Bulldog Youth Hockey. And the outdoor pool will be ready. Starting today, we're in the swim lesson registrations, and they're starting to fill up. The next meeting, just a note, next meeting will be Tuesday, May 28th. Monday, May 27th is Memorial Day. So the next regular city council meeting will be a Tuesday night, regular time 6:30, May 28th. That's all I have.
Thank you. Any council members have any questions regarding our city administrator's report? If not, it'll take us into our regular agenda, and we will start with agenda item 7A. That would be resolution R 2024-031, the fly-in event for the fuel discount. Mr. Roby.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think I'll just turn this over to Director Graff if he's comfortable with it.
Sure. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. As you're probably aware, coming up May 30th through June 2nd, Marginal Aviation will be hosting First Ditch fly-in, expected to bring in upwards of 200 antique airplanes. Due to the nature of this event, Joel Schmidt has come forward to me and asked if we could propose a discounted fuel price for the event. So for those 4 days, our current fuel price is set over $1 over cost. What they're requesting is 50 cents over cost. So wanted to bring that forward tonight to get council's thoughts and views and hopefully approval on that. So it's something that's been done in the past for different flying events, and that's all I have.
The only thing that I would add, which was, interesting to me, and I think probably to Mr. Graff as well, is the private airplane fuel market is very interesting to me. So their folks will fly 50 plus miles out of their way, one way, to save a relatively small amount, I would say, per gallon of fuel. So with an event going on, we might have people who say, oh, I'm not sure I'm going to stop in and see the planes, but they'll go online if they see the gas 10 cents lower here than it is in Wilmer, for example. They might head over this way, they'll do the math, and if they can save 12 bucks on a tank, on a 50-gallon tank of fuel, they'll stop on over here and maybe grab a bite to eat at one of our restaurants. And so it's a very price sensitive market. So our hope is to take advantage of that and try to maximize volume.
Well, I think there's some council members, as we get older, we'll drive a few extra blocks for cheaper gas stations.
Well, we'll go to St. Peter for 7 cents.
Any council members? Any council members have any questions regarding this subject matter?
How many gallons do you think, are we talking?
It would be a complete guess, but I would say we're probably talking between around 1,000, maybe.
This 1,000 over the weekend.
Sure. We're not gonna lose any money.
Yeah.
No.
I was gonna say, if it helps promote the market, I think it's a great idea.
Then maybe next year there'll be 400.
So we will, and I will add before we consider a council vote, city staff have been in conversation with Marginal Aviation. Marginal Aviation, you should check out their website. It's a neat organization, private group based here out of southern Minnesota, and this event in particular has started to gain some national attention for the antique airplanes that they're drawing into their event. So as the event grows, like any other event in town, we try to take a proactive stance in having conversations with them. So we've met with them twice now just to discuss logistics for the weekend. They've made a couple of requests just for some public works assistance as far as public safety. So I'll be bringing that forward to the next city council meeting for support.
Does anybody know how many planes they can park up there?
This also would be a guess. I would say at any one time, including the apron, the taxi lanes, space, the grassy area, I would guess at any one time, maybe 80 planes at a time.
So there's gonna be a continuous turnover.
Yes, yes, and the community will notice,
Fly.
will notice. Yes, lots of planes overhead. And one thing that we will do, and I'll talk to Director Lawrence about this, we'll be posting some information about the event. Just to remind people that, yes, there will be planes overhead. There's generally a left-hand turning pattern when they're taking off to the southeast. So all the planes fly over my house and then kind of head down over the Green Acres and then turn back around by the river. So it will be a busy weekend, but really, really neat planes that they bring in from all over the country.
I lived in Oshkosh for 6 years.
Oh, sure.
The EAA, and you had, the biplanes, no radios. They all had to follow the railroad tracks and they would actually land 2 at once. One down for, because they're slow, maneuverable aircraft. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a very, very neat event, so.
All right, thank you. If there's no other questions, I'll entertain a motion to adopt resolution R 2024-031. Thank you, Mr. Schleer, seconded by Council Member Tui. Any other discussion, comments, concerns? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. Moving on to agenda item 7B, the Tiller Place Development Agreement. Mr. Lynn.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Everyone here is familiar with Tiller Place. The work is going on right now at the southeast corner of the old Valley Reed Square parking lot. Brand new development. With any significant development, commercial or residential or otherwise, it often behooves the city to consider a development agreement which memorializes the terms and conditions and the rights and obligations of both the developer, the owner, and the city as well, to protect the city's interest. Of course, the developer wants to protect their interest. That's not what I'm here for, but so City Council approved the plat and conditional use permit for the apartment complex back in September. The developer had hoped to break ground even last fall, but they had some delays on their end. And we prepared all the documents, sent them across to them, and we wanted to memorialize some of the terms and conditions in the development agreement. And they asked for some waiver of our water access charges and sewer access charges, which are fees that we charge new construction for the ability to connect into our water and sewer systems. And all communities charge them, and they charge them essentially because it's an additional wear and tear on the system long term. So it's $1,500 per unit for water and the same for wastewater. And they requested a fee reduction in WAC and SAC. They're obligated to pay the electric fees, which include time and labor for our linemen to get power to the building, install a new transformer. They have to buy all the infrastructure. They have to pay all the permitting fees, the zoning fees. And in the last two significant developments, the city has negotiated to some extent on the WAC and SAC fees in particular. And what we as staff really wanted to see was some improvements to the north parking lot, to the surface itself. For better or worse, I think a lot of the community still believes the city owns the entire parking lot. And so we get, as staff, and I suspect council members get questions, isn't there anything you can do about the condition of the parking lot? Isn't it anything you can do about the condition of the sidewalk in front of Dollar General? And there isn't, because it's all privately owned now. We vacated the alley through there. So in exchange for a $27,000 reduction in their water access and sewer access combined charges, we negotiated terms that said, if you spend at least that much and prove it to us in sidewalk and parking lot improvements over the next 3 years, we will reduce those fees. What the agreement says is, if they haven't proven to us that they've spent those dollars in the first 3 years, that anything they haven't spent, we assess to their property taxes. So essentially, we're asking for that value out of improvements to the parking lot, which we think will benefit the overall downtown.
Do you know what their plan is? Redo the whole parking lot?
That's the ultimate plan. So they sent us a quote that they received from an asphalt company that said they thought they could buy some time, which in my non-professional, not asphalt or engineering background, I disagreed with. But it's probably a $200,000 project to
Exactly. That's what we need.
to reclaim the whole thing.
Yeah, they're gonna go 5 feet, quit, because they spent their 27 grand.
So what they had shared, I think they shared it here. I've certainly shared it at the Planning Commission, because some of the members of the public who came to the Planning Commission last September during the plat application and the CUP application were concerned about the condition of the parking lot, concerned about parking in general. And Matt Borrowy, who's part of the ownership group, part of the development team for Tiller Place, publicly stated that their intent was to replace ultimately the entirety of the parking lot with brand new surface. Because of the expense and because they think they can get a couple more years of use out of it, what they plan to do this year, hopefully as part of the construction, because as part of the construction on the south end, they're going to have to, well, they've already reclaimed a lot of that asphalt, and they're going to have to re-pour, regrade everything, and put some new asphalt down. That at that same time, they'll go out and they might do some mastic repairs, some crack sealing, pothole filling repairs, and maybe grind out some of the areas of the sidewalk. And then they have in their 5-year plan, a plan to replace, mill and overlay the entirety of the remainder of that parking lot. Just not right away. So no, $27,000 doesn't go a whole long way.
3 years from now, it's gonna go a lot less.
Yes, and so my hope was to try to incentivize some earlier action.
Sure.
And to say, look, this is a pain point for our downtown community. We really, the city, the EDA, the people of the community have invested a lot in the downtown, and the developer has invested a lot into the downtown district in that development area in particular. So we're willing to waive those fees and essentially provide that waiver as a seed to provide, some incentive to get to work on it.
In that they're already going to have a macadam or a blacktop operation there for the existing. Would it make any sense to offer the city's new grinder so that they could go in and cut some holes out there, put the cones up, and then when they go in to do that, they just go over it? They already have the asphalt there, they already got the rollers there, if you can prepare the surface for them. Just a thought. I mean, it shows good faith effort to try to clean the thing up. And,
The only concern there is using our staff and equipment on the property.
well, no, you'd have to get their permission.
Yeah.
It's just a thought.
Yeah, I mean, if that's,
I keep hearing in this, in kind, in kind, in kind. Well, to me, that's like an in kind if they're amenable.
It just sets a precedence. And a few years ago, we had to come through and quit plowing cemeteries because the legal told us we had to. So
Okay.
when you start doing that,
Just a
it sets
thought.
a precedence, right?
I mean, it's something that I could maybe run the math on and see, what the value would be, or if it would create enough of an incentive to make them do something sooner. Of that $200,000, how much of it is mill and grading and how much is asphalt itself? I mean, my hope initially was, we said, you're gonna have to work on a third of the parking lot already as part of this project. There's no cheaper time to do it than right now.
I agree.
Just go in and do it. You don't have to pay a mobilization fee. The costs are lower now than they're gonna be next year or the year after that. So here's $27,000 that you can put toward that. And I know.
My question is, how are you going to differentiate between improvements and repairs or maintenance? What are you going to consider an improvement? Filling a pothole or actually doing an improvement?
So what we will do is, we'll have the city engineer review. So what we'll do is they'll send them a copy of an invoice and proof that they paid the invoice. And then if there's any question as to the quality or the type of work that was done, we'll ask the city engineer to verify that with the contractor to determine whether it's an eligible expense or not.
Anybody else? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve the execution of proposed development agreement for Tiller Place development.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Simon. Second, Mr. Tui. Seconded by Councilmember Tui. Any other discussion, comments, concerns? If not, all those in favor?
I
Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. Moving on to agenda item 7C, ordinance 605, second and final reading.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. As you'll recall from the April 22nd meeting, City Council waived the first reading of ordinance 605, which dealt with language changes to the I-1 and I-2 zoning districts. We've received no additional comments or questions. We did share the update with the planning commission at last week's meeting to let them know that City Council is prepared to consider the second and final reading of this ordinance. Nothing has changed in this since, and the planning commission continues its work through the other zoning districts, as I briefly mentioned earlier, going on down to the downtown B districts.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions? If not, I'll ask for a volunteer to read that.
I will make a motion that we waive the second reading.
Motion made, it's been seconded. Motion made by Councilmember Schleter, seconded by Councilmember Swanberg. Any other discussion, comments, concerns? That is to waive the second reading. If not, all those in favor? Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. Moving on to our final agenda item for tonight, that would be 7D, Waste Management Agreement Amendment. Mr. Roby, you want to give us a little preview of that? I think we have a representative here from Waste Management.
I would. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Jay is here from Waste Management in case there are any additional questions that I'm not prepared to answer. I appreciate him coming out tonight to be here. It's pretty straightforward. I think the memo hopefully outlines most of it. The current agreement that we have with Waste Management in Minnesota, which is a 5-year agreement, was authorized in 2021 and runs through the end of 2025. A specific portion of that agreement references the Ottawa transfer station, and the Ottawa transfer station has been a site that part of this agreement allows property owners within the city of Sueur to dispose of up to 160 electronics items per year, dropped off at the transfer station at no additional cost to the city or the customers. Waste Management shared with me their intention of permanently closing the transfer station at Ottawa. Some of you probably know that their scale has been offline since, I believe, September of 2023. And the costs, I've been told, are significant to repair that, and generally there's an underutilization of the transfer station itself. So because the transfer station is referenced directly in the agreement, Jay and I visited about what that might mean for customers going forward. And technically they can't close the transfer station because it's referenced in the agreement. And so the document prepared for council tonight references a change or amendment to the agreement that would still allow up to 160 electronics items to be recycled per year at no additional cost to the city or the customer, but the customer would simply call into the Waste Management customer service line, or they could certainly contact the city of Sueur, who will refer them to Waste Management to have those items picked up at their home. So customers won't drive to the transfer station, they'll call in and have them picked up.
And any electronics?
Yes, any electronics device, computers, stereos.
I just had a wonderful experience doing it, 3rd Street, Mankato. Felt like I was in Bangladesh.
Sounds like you need the number, Pam.
I don't want to ever go there
What is the
without
phone number? Is it a 1-800 number? I mean, if you did it, are you gonna get somebody down in Oklahoma or?
No, they get somebody local, because I went to your transfer station and found out that your scale wasn't working, so I was traumatized. Traumatizing as it was anyway, but I did call the 1-800 number and got somebody and
Okay.
actually had a very nice conversation. And she did reference other places that I could take my load.
So to satisfy this, you just go online, the 1-800 number and go from there?
You can either call, or if customer center or app downloaded, they can actually request additional services. And it's more than electronic items. I know that in the past, residents here have been able to take additional trash, refuse to the transfer station. That's still available today. They can actually call into the 1-800 number or use it on their app to request an additional pickup. Of course, they're charged for that, but just they would get in charge of the
Or you
transfer
could get
station
one
as
of
well.
the boxes put in your driveway and then you come and pick it up.
Yeah, that as well.
Okay.
So we will get people from time to time who will pull into City Hall and they'll have a truck bed full of stuff, right? And they'll say, where do I go with this? And historically, we've said, just take it to the transfer station, they'll weigh it, they'll check everything out, and then they'll charge you for whatever it is. There will still be other transfer stations, just not the one in Ottawa. But if customers don't want to drive out of town, they can call the number and then a special pickup will be arranged at their home.
And that's, you get charged for that, correct?
Correct. It's the 160 electronic items per year. That's of no additional cost.
Right.
But the extra loads and things like
Pickups
that.
and stuff. Got it.
So is there a way to know if that 160 is being used, or like if I go on tonight and request a pickup, assuming I'm not getting charged, right? And then tomorrow I end up with a charge because now we're 160, or does it notify me before that pickup's been done?
They'll notify you in real time when you make that request.
Okay.
What I'll tell you is that traditionally, Sueur has averaged between 20 and 30 electronic items per year. So we've never gotten anywhere close to that threshold.
Well, and I mean, intriguingly enough, I was just out at the way station on Friday, and the guy wanted to charge me $54 for a TV. That's why I'm like, I didn't even know this was available. So.
Yeah, I didn't know electronics was.
I didn't either.
If anybody else have any other questions regarding this subject?
Something new every day.
If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the proposed amendment to the current solid waste and recycling agreement with Waste Management of Minnesota.
So moved.
Second, Councilmember Swanberg, Councilmember Sullivan seconded. Any other discussion, comments, concerns? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The ayes have
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, appreciate
Appreciate
it.
it. Thank you.
it. Thank you, Jay. This takes us into reports and items of appreciation. Council members, this is your opportunity to share what's going on with your commissions, what's going on with the community. And we will start with Councilmember Schleter tonight.
I attended the Lee Sueur County officials meeting on Wednesday, the 24th in Lee Center. One item of note, the county is going to be doing their new comprehensive land use plan, and it's going to need each city's latest orderly annexation plan so they can move forward with that. Attended the Arbor Day tree planting on the 29th. Want to thank everybody who was involved with that. And the Highway 169 Corridor Coalition meeting on the 8th in Jordan, and the Planning Commission meeting, which Administrator Roby mentioned. On the 9th, they started a long discussion on business district zoning. They're going to continue that to the next meeting. Upcoming activity, I do have a Region 9 Economic Development meeting tomorrow. That's it.
Thank you. Councilmember Sullivan.
All I have is that we have a transit meeting tomorrow at 2:30 in St. Peter.
Thank you. Councilmember Swanberg.
Nothing tonight.
Okay, Councilmember Tui.
Just that I attended that same meeting with Councilman Schluter, and I actually learned some stuff that I didn't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they said that Cambridge's building a new plant up there.
They were talking about that in the Jordan area.
Yes, I didn't know that. On the other cross from by the yard.
Very good. Anything else? Okay, thank you. And then Councilmember Williams.
I just want to compliment the police department on their being visual and at different positive events, baseball games, whatever. I know Officer Holm helped a couple kids get their glove off top of the charging station at the community center. Met community service person, Haley Jones, very pleasant person. As far as she said, so far she's not getting any resistance to the lawn mowing needs. HRA meeting on Wednesday. Richard, you had a meeting last month. Nothing real new. Their facility is doing fine. Want to give kudos to Pioneer Power for their event despite the wetness. It was a positive event, so they do a nice job out there. Just wanted to bring that point. Brings a lot of people into town, you can tell. So, and Arbor Day, I thought the staff there did a very nice job on that and handling all those kids. It was very well done.
Thank you. As far as my report tonight, I just want to extend my congratulations to the Sueur Henderson class of 2024. I wish them all the best. And also want to thank our council president, Mr. Marvin Sullivan, for taking the meeting in my absence in late April. So I appreciate that. I know the council is in good hands with you. With that, I have nothing else. At this time, I'm going to take a motion to dismiss this meeting. So, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you, everybody.